Okay guys, welcome back once again. You got the Dragon here with Dragon Works, and where I left off was I'm about to inspect this carburetor. This is that 2006 Hardcore 2 chopper project I'm working on. This is an unfortunate situation here. This is not the carburetor that was on the bike. Like I mentioned in the last video, the owner took this bike, his chopper, to the local mechanic and spent a whole lot of money with the guy. And the mechanic basically told him that his really nice Mikuni racing carburetor was no good and it was too much for the bike and all this stuff, and sold him on this. I don't even know what it is. It's a generic CV carburetor that comes on a Harley or something, and many other bikes. And then he proceeded to take the good Mikuni carburetor that he told him was no good, and he put it on his own personal bike. The mechanic took his carburetor and put it on his own personal bike after he told him it was no good. The customer actually witnessed it on his bike, you know, a little short time later. So that's how some people treat their customers, but not at Dragon Works. We don't do that. So anyway, where I'm at, if you saw the last video, I removed this off of the engine, and I just took it all apart as one unit. So I've removed this air cleaner off of here right now, and basically this bracket is just stuck on there with a gasket. It can come off. I'm not going to mess with it too much. But the reason I shot the camera back on, what did I do with that little hammer? Stand by. So what I found is, and this is usual, I would expect it from a mechanic that is treating people that way, and some of the work that I saw he was doing on the bikes, but I couldn't find the right Allen wrench for these screws, and I quickly figured out why, because he had been using the wrong size Allen wrench, which was too small for the hole, so it was flopping around in there. So now the inside of these holes are all screwed up, and somehow I got to manage to get these out of here. So I have the proper size Allen wrench, and now I'm going to have to try and tap it down in there and loosen that. Stand by with me 1 second. I'm going to get some WD-40. Before I go any further, I can access the top of these threads here, so I'm just going to go ahead and give them all a quick little shot. Don't matter what you have, any kind of lubricant will work. So yeah, so I'm stuck with this task. No, I'm not stuck with it. I choose this, but yeah, this guy didn't, there we go. So fortunately, that one came loose, but you see the extra effort. It's not a lot of effort, but you get the point. One guy screws it up for the next guy. Now this one is really screwed up, so I'm not so sure how this is going to go yet. Bear with me. Yeah, you never want to have to take a hammer and work on a carburetor. All right, I got that one loose. But if I don't tap them in there and I try to loosen it, I'm going to end up with the same mess he left me with. I'm going to chew it up myself. So looks like it's been leaking pretty good here. Try this one too, got to be tapped in. And I try really hard not to badmouth, you know, other mechanics or businesses or something. I make mistakes myself, so I just want to say that I'm not perfect. You know, somewhere along the line I did the same thing once upon a time, I'm sure, and I learned from it, and I never did it to someone else's motorcycle or car or anything like that. I might have done it to my own and learn the hard way. That's the best way to learn, right? So anyway, basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just removing this bowl for inspection and for cleaning purposes. Get all that old fuel out, because I know I could probably get it running if I kept trying it and trying it and trying it. It'll eventually start and what have you, but right now I want this thing to start and run properly. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the bowl. This carburetor has an accelerator pump on it, so when you hit this throttle, this linkage controls this little rocker arm, and it pumps this diaphragm inside, and that will squirt some gas in your carburetor so it starts better. And that's not the only purpose of it. Accelerator pump also, so some guy on this is American Chopper, so some guy pulls up next to you on a crotch rocket or something, and you want to blow his doors off, then when you crank that throttle at highway speed, it's going to open this slide, and, well, actually it opens this butterfly, the vacuum then opens the slide, and this gush of air comes in, and it's the transition between the time it can suck the fuel out of the bottom of the bowl. This thing will pump the accelerator and squirt some fuel in to take up the lack of vacuum that you won't have in that split second. It'll actually squirt it in, because basically what a carburetor does is nothing. Carburetor doesn't do anything at all. The engine is what runs the carburetor. When this thing is hooked to the engine and that piston goes down on the intake stroke, it sucks air through this carburetor, which sucks air through all these tiny little holes you see in here. And when that creates a vacuum, it actually sucks gas from the bottom of this bowl. Sorry if you can't see here with the camera. I just got it propped up over there. But basically, the vacuum from the engine, or the intake, or the suction, or whatever you want to call it, actually just sucks gas from this bowl up into the carburetor, into the engine with the air, and that's how it works. So a carburetor doesn't do anything except, like I was telling you, mechanically, when you turn this throttle, it pumps a little squirt of gas in there. Under normal conditions, once you do that, then your throttle's held open. This pump doesn't do anything at that point. The vacuum or the suction, the intake of the engine, is then what's drawing the fuel out of the bowl in there. And you can see inside of here, I don't know if you can or not, but there is a little needle going down into a hole, and that's what meters the fuel. The further this goes up, the more air is coming in, the more fuel you need. So it's basically, like I say, sucking you up through there. So you got that now, it sucks it up through. All right, that's enough of that. So yeah, these are usually stuck on, so you got to tap them a little bit, or a lot of bit, whatever it takes. If they've been on there a while, it can take, it's like, well, if you're not from Maryland like I am, you won't know this, but it's kind of like cracking a crab open for the first time. Yeah, they really stick good. There we go. Okay. So under first observation, the first thing I see is it's very clean. So I like that. It's not all caked up. I'm just going to basically, I'm going to remove the jets, remove the float and the needle and seat under here. And I'm going to clean all that out, clean all the passageways, clean the inside out. I'm going to pull the diaphragm out. Clean all the air passages there, so that's working correctly. And this won't take very long. Clean that up. The bowl looks good. Got a little piece of fuzz on it. The bowl's looking good. I'll make sure this diaphragm's still working. And basically, like I say, just give it a cleaning, put it back together, it'll be ready to go. Then I have to install the compression release and the battery. And we'll hopefully get this puppy fired up later today. So I think I might cut the video here so it doesn't get too long, and I'll come back with a little bit when I'm working on the carburetor. All right, guys. Thanks for following along. Dragon says peace out and catch the next video.